All right, one more Arena Cube draft here before I set off for SCG Baltimore this weekend. Super excited to go play some more Cube. I got to play a surprisingly small amount of Cube last week while I was running Steel City. So it will be nice to get some actual games in. As I've mentioned in a bunch of previous videos, I think this current Arena Cube is awesome, and I'm going to draft a whole bunch of it while it's still up. So let's go for one more here. All right, what is our pack one pick one looking like here? I'm super interested in Toxic Deluge. I think that's probably the strongest card in this pack. I have been finding that blue is really underdrafted in this format. I wonder if we can try to be like actual control this time, counter magic and stuff like that. I think we take the Toxic. I think that's got to be the best card here by a lot. Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. Liliana, Last Hope. Sorin is pretty sick. We get to stay in our colors. It's pretty hard to flip it in Limited, I think. It's one thing in Constructed when you have, you can build your deck around it. This is like a weird Archaeomancer. We can also stick with Lily. Stay in black here. Phantom Interference is also basically just Quench. Let's stay in our colors and see what comes. Oh, Sorin and Virtue are both really sick. I love Virtue Persistence so much. It does everything. It just does it all. Languish can wipe the board. Fatal Push can kill some stuff, but not a bunch of other stuff. Alright, Languish it is. Black seems really open right now. Treasure Cruise is pretty late. Alright, blue-black is wide open. Let's take this Treasure Cruise. See if we can wheel one of these fixing lands. And immediately rewarded with the Scarab God. I didn't even know that card was in this cube, or frankly on Arena at all. Lazav, Wearer of Faces, also slots right in. I think this card is sweet. Blood Chief's Thirst, also quite strong. Blue seems like it's drying up a little bit. I'm probably not the only person to notice how open it was. All of these powerful red cards came back. That's interesting. I'm going to spec on this Botanical Sanctum because I'm seeing some late green cards. Ooh, and the Siphoner comes back. I actually think this card is pretty sweet. Delver, probably not very good here. I'm going to draft this Boseiju. Takes a lot to want to play Delver in Limited, I think. We did wheel one of these fixing pieces, which I think is going to be a little bit better than Fatal Push. Push is fine, but this format has a pretty high curve. I'm worried about it just not hitting anything in the late game. Wow. Alright, well, we're in the right lane. I'm going to take the Gonti. I think that card is very good in this format. And here's the Catacomb. Well, our fixing is going to be really good, that's for sure. And Nightpack Ambusher. Okay, Subtlety is pretty powerful, but we're not very tempo-y. I think I might take this Extinction Event, or we can draft Restless Cottage and see if we can make it far enough into green to activate it. But I think Extinction Event is going to be a little bit better here. We do have a lot of board wipes now. I think what I'm looking for the most at this point is counter magic. Noxious Gearhulk, hello. I also think that this Cackling Observer is very powerful. We got kind of blown out by that card in the last video. Took our Flage. We're already got a pretty high removal density. I also think making additional bats with something like the Scarab God is pretty powerful. Alright, let's try this bats. I like drafting weird arena cards. Yawgmoth versus Cruelty versus maybe Horned Lockwhale. Lockwhale is pretty good, and we don't have that much early interaction right now. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to start drafting some of the lower curving stuff. What I wouldn't give for actual counterspell. Ooh, Brazen Borrower, also sick. So is Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Wow, this is a really good pack. Hive is pretty free. Right into the mana base. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Memory Deluge is up there as well. We might wheel that one. We'll see. Intrude on the Mind is pretty powerful. Still not counter magic though. Jace can loot for us. Or we can Spyglass Siren. We could also Cold Steel Heart. That's not bad as far as twos go for our control deck. Especially because we're really low on stuff we want to actually hold up on turn 2 right now. How about Bankbuster? Card advantage and an early, like an early drop. Okay, Bankbuster it is. Here's Malcolm. Psychic Frog, also really messed up. Yep, let's take the Frog. Sensor. Probably good enough. I'm also interested in Lightning Bolt here. That would be Sky Sovereign. But let's take the Sensor. It's early interaction, but it's easy to cycle it away. We don't have that much targeted removal yet, so this could be good. We're also pretty heavy on the board wipes right now. I wonder if we want the Midnight Clock. I do think this card is potentially very good in this format. Artifact or creature. It's like a kind of weird removal. Let's take the Clock. Okay, Blink of an Eye came back. So did Restless Cottage. Weird. I don't think we want to ruin our mana base quite yet. Flooded Strand, that's late. The Noxious Gearhulk is still here too. What are people even playing at this table? I've seen late good red cards. I feel like everyone is just fighting over green, maybe? This is kind of weird. Cruelty is fine. Probably main deckable. Gonna take this Charter Course, I guess. I don't know if Fading Hope is high impact enough for this format. Yeah, look at this. What? I don't know. Like, I'm ready to build. And we are still in pack 2. Last pick, Lingering Souls. No respect. Okay, this pack is terrible for us. I guess we'll take the Muldrifter. That's funny. There's just like no blue or black cards in here, basically. Now we're at 23. Worst card in our deck is maybe Saiba Siphoner. We're very low on actual things to get back with it. Bitter Blossom. Also Murderous Rider, though. I think we learned last draft that removal spells that hit planeswalkers are very important in this format. I wonder if this is just better than Bitter Blossom. I'm going to do it. Let's put the Siphoner away. I did not mean to take the Intrude out, but I also think it's fine if we do that. Bitter Triumph also hits planeswalkers. Get that in there. Okay, so Cruelty, it despises them. And then, hello. We didn't get to cast Grief a single time in our last video. Pack 1, pick 1 Grief. Did not get to do anything with it, except get griefed by our own Grief off of Rakdos, if I recall correctly. So let's give it another go. On the sideboard, this Virtue is basically a 2, Treasure Cruise, hard to say. Wow, Agent of Treachery. Can we just cast this card? Is that ridiculous? I think we're supposed to draft Heartless Act. All right. Liliana Dreadhorde General. Very good. So is Rankle. But I'm going to take the Liliana. I think we're slow enough for it. We'll just wheel this Watery Grave, whatever. Cryptic Code is here. Hostage Taker is here. I do not know how I'm going to make cuts from this deck. Our whole deck is so nuts. We might be able to cut the Extinction Event. We've already got Toxic and Languish. Or we could Companion Yorion. We're kind of close. All right, let's draft this just in case. There's nothing else for us in this pack. That makes me wish I had drafted the Agent of Treachery, but we might get it back. We have some pretty decent ETBs here. Hostage Taker, Gaunty, Grief, Mulldrifter, Noxious. That might be kind of fun. Yorion Companion. I think we're going to have to draft Fixing for our Lingering Souls and our Yorion here if we want to go all the way up to 60 cards in deck. Wow, Bitter Blossom comes back. So does Caustic Bronco. Bronco is better in our deck. Okay, let's get this back in. Let's get this back in. Let's get this back in and this. Yeah, we're actually quite close to a Yorion deck. I wonder what Stoneforge Mystic is supposed to do in this format. Preacher of the Schism, totally fine. I'm more worried about playables than I am about fixing for these white spells. Watery Grave. I don't think Lava Spur Boots makes it. Okay, we've got 33 reasonable cards here. Ideally, we want like probably 36, give or take. So if we do Companion this Yorion, we might have drafted too many fixing lands for this. But suppose we play Meticulous Archive, Concealed Courtyard, Darkslick Shores. Right, none of these actually increase our spell count here. We play the Lingering Souls, and we play the Hive. We now have 1, 2, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh, it still has 17 lands in here. So we're increasing our deck size by about 50%. I think we want to... This would ordinarily be probably a 17 land deck. So we won't probably want about 25 lands. 24, 25 lands. I am going to play this Everheart Overland, just because I think it's possible we might cast it. Do we need a basic Plains for any reason? I don't think so. Now, the Everheart is actually worse than a land. It's going to be hard for us to find white sources. Lingering Souls at least does something sometimes if we don't find a white source. So now we're at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 lands. We want to play, yeah, we just have to put 11 more lands in our deck. That's fine. We have lots of stuff to do with our mana. We have a few too many lands in our deck. We're guaranteed to have Yorion every time. Yeah, this is not the ideal Yorion deck. If I had known we were going to find Yorion in pack 3, I wouldn't have drafted Fixing quite so heavily. But I'm excited to give it a shot. 60 card Yorion over here. Let's take it for a spin. All right, let's head into game 1. Looks good to me. This deck does have way too many lands in it, and so I think it's better to err on the side of low land count hands. Heartless Act is probably pretty good against what is clearly an aggro deck. Mono red, kind of sick. All right, let's block. I don't mind if I get 2 for 1 here. Yep. Or rather, I don't mind 2 for 1ing my opponent here. That's what I was trying to say. I don't mind my opponent 2 for 1ing themselves. Do kill my Lazov. Professional Facebreaker will die to Heartless Act. This is an attack trigger. No, it's actually a combat damage trigger. Okay, so let's just pass the turn. Destroy this creature with no counters on it. And show me your 4-drop so I can Gear Hulk it. No, nothing. Get a counter here. Okay, with no Gear Hulk, I suppose I will Gonti them. Oh, they're missing a color, that's what's happening. Well, I guess I'll take this random 2/2. They found their green mana. Kill their 2/2 and Wild Nacatl. Well, I could buy the Yorion and then cast it next turn. It's probably fine. I am going to attack, I think. And we'll do this. Getting to draw another card with Gonti, pretty sick. Here's Ansrog. That is a juicy target for Noxious Gear Hulk for sure. I think I'm gonna cool it on the counters here because now I have a multiple turn. I have like a multi-turn line of Gear Hulk into Yorion, so I actually don't want to spin my hand away quite yet. Yep, gonna gain my 4 here and attack for 2. Nissa, pretty good. Cruelty of Gix does not deal with the Nissa. I could Extinction Event for Odd and then kill the Nissa, and that's probably fine. Yeah. Do I have enough mana for both of those things? Yeah, I have exactly enough mana. So I'm going to Extinction Event for Odd. And then I'm going to go to combat. I'm going to kill the Nissa. And then I'm going to Yorion. Pretty good turn. Yep, sounds about right. Good game. One and oh, on to the next one. Two lands on the play. That's pretty rough. Again, our land count is much higher than it should be in this deck. We do have something to cast onto. Ordinarily, I would never keep this hand, but knowing that we have an excess of lands in our deck, it gets closer. I'm going to keep this. Utopia Sprawl, pretty good. Do we want to try and take their 3-drop? I don't think that's worth the 2-for-1 here. Green, black, interesting. Incubation Druid, pretty good. Nothing we can do to draw a card right now, but if we Bank Buster, we can draw a card next turn in case we miss our land drop. I think that's fine. Are we willing to 2-for-1 ourselves now? They're going to have potentially up to 5 mana next turn. Maybe we should check their hand. We don't have double black right now, so we're not losing a lot. Okay, I'm going to do it. Get rid of this Preacher, and we'll take a peek over there. I'm getting worried about what they're going to cast off of all this ramp. Okay, kind of nothing. More ramp. I guess we'll just take this. They can't cast their red spells right now, but they're kind of ramping into nothing at the moment. They can grow their Incubation Druid if they want. And they found a Homicide Investigator. Repulse. That's pretty good. I think I'm going to wait for them to commit mana and then bounce the Incubation Druid, assuming that that's what they have. Okay, they drew a land, so they're going to activate here. And then I can kind of undo their whole turn. Gonna wait for the attack so they can't recast it. If I do it main phase, they can tap it for mana. Alright, there's Gonti. Still no land, although Midnight Clock is close. Lose my grief, makes sense. Shove Aside can kill my Hostage Taker. And they've made a Trumpeting Carnosaur. This is a terrible target for Hostage Taker right now because they have an onboard removal spell for it, or rather a face-up one. Yeah, this is pretty bad. I'm going to have to draw exactly Toxic Deluge. Meticulous Archive. Okay. I cannot Gonti them. Hostage Taker sucks. I guess I can hostage take the Armored Scrap Gorger to take some counters off of it. Let's see what's on top before we decide. Island. Island kind of sucks here. Well, okay, Island brings us up to 6 mana, but not double black for our Liliana. Okay, this doesn't do anything. I don't want this. I think we take the Scrap Gorger hostage because taking the Carnosaur hostage is very bad. They just get to discover again. I can take their treasure, I guess. I need to do something to commit to the board here. Yeah, they can also kill this in response and the trigger doesn't do anything. Is it too late for a Toxic now? We're about to take 12. Yeah. All right, I think this one is lost. Okay. They discarded Timeless Witness. That's sick. Intrude on the Mind. We get to block, and then we are still dead. Okay. GG. 1-1 going into game 3. Okay, this is the opposite of the last hand, but at least if we do flood, we get to Gear Hulk into Yorion. Works for me. I also think this bat is just nuts. I guess this one's not a bat, but it's close enough to the other bat. Alright, show me 2-drop that attacks. Then I can Lockwhale them and then Observer them, and that will be pretty good. Vran, sure. Island Sego. Put that away. Alright, they wanted it on top. Drowned Catacomb, pretty sick. And Observer. Okay, they've got Ophelia. What do we want to get rid of here? So Gutterbones is gone forever and also doesn't give them a card back, which is pretty sweet. I think I'm going to do that. I will block with this Observer if they attack. And if they flicker it, then that's very bad for them. Need a hook for 1, makes sense. And they get to grow their Philia. Virtue of Persistence, pretty good draw. I am going to cast that. Kill your thing, gain 2 life. Vran is back. So with my 6th mana here, I will be able to Gear Hulk that, but not right now. I can destroy each creature with power 2 or less and return one creature card from my graveyard to my hand. This is fine. Kill your thing, buy my thing back. I think that's good enough. If they commit to the board, I can Gear Hulk, and if they don't, I probably just hold up Block Whale. I think this is going to be Observer and then buy Yorion. Take your one thing, and then, yeah, buy this. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I can't Virtue until the Deathrite is dead. Ooh. I'm gonna block. They seek a... Okay, they seek a 1-drop there. Now this is my chance to languish. I could also Gear Hulk. No, I'm gonna languish first. Wipe your board and then start Virtuing, and that should be enough. Soul Cauldron. Well, that blows out my Virtue. Bummer. Good thing I drew this Liliana. Marionette Apprentice, pretty good. Caustic Bronco, also pretty good. Are we willing to spend the Gear Hulk on the Apprentice? Probably. This lets us get in. We can flicker it next turn if they do find something meaningful. Get in for 2. And we'll play the Bronco as well. We can even crew the Bronco with the zombies, which is kind of sweet. All right, you've got a 2/2. Preacher of the Schism, pretty sweet. Let's make that 2/2. And I'm gonna trade the Bronco. I think it's okay. Like, we get to draw a card, and we trade 1 for 1, so we're up on a card advantage here. I'm gonna head to combat. I'm gonna attack with these. Sick. Casually 8 you with Treasure Cruise. They are going to block with the Bronco here. Yeah, that's fine. Bronco dies, and then might Yorion. Yeah, that's fine too. Resolve all of those. Go ahead and play this. I'm going to Yorion, and I'm going to flicker the Gear Hulk. go up to 16 here and then lose 1 from the meat hook. And they're out of here. Good game. All right, we're 2-1 going into game 4. Let's keep it going. No blue mana in this hand, but we are on the draw. We've got something to do on 3 and on 4. I think this is fine. It's not good, but it's fine. See if we can trick them into thinking we are black-white, if that is useful in some way, I don't know. They are red-white, but they have nothing to do on turn 2. I'm starting to think about griefing them, but they have a lot of cards in hand. Maybe I'll just wait until turn 4. I'm probably going to get something with the grief and the cruelty. They're red-white with no actual threats. Okay, Seasoned Pyromancer is going to smooth out whatever's happening over there, which might be a missing color or something. They pitched a Trumpeting Carnosaur, that's scary. Do I want to Toxic them right now? I think we can wait 1 turn. I'm going to buy Yorion. Oh, just kidding, that's 8 cards. That'll teach me. Well, I want a Cruelty of Gix this Trumpeting Carnosaur. So I am going to pitch cast Grief. I have to keep the Toxic. So I'm going to pitch the Lazav here. Can't even cast it right now. Micaeus, Abrade, Bonecrusher Giant. Yeah, let's take the Bonecrusher, see if we can get them to cast the Micaeus, and then we'll wipe the board. I'm going to take 4 down to 16, and then I'm going to pay 3 life into Toxic down to 13. That seems fine to me. I just looked at their hand and thought they had drawn a Liliana, and I was like, what on earth? It's just the sleeves, though. Okay, does paying 3 for this blow me out in any way? No. Get those out of here. They can flashback the spirit or the elementals here, but I'm gonna make a Carnosaur if I draw a land, and if I don't, I'm gonna Gonti them. Did find a land. Yeah, let's just Carnosaur right now. Bang, discover 5. Extinction event. Oh, yeah, you can put it into your hand with discover. That's pretty good. Lightning Strike plus Abrade. Okay, I'll take it. Island, and do we want to double Lingering Souls or do we want to hold up Censor? I don't think Censor is going to matter that much for the rest of this game. We have a lot of lands and their deck looks pretty low curving to me. So probably just going to end up cycling it. I'll cycle it now, because if they Spellbinder it, I can't cycle it anymore. I wonder what they want here. My hand is really good. They want the Muldrifter. They have successfully identified that their attacks are not good. So let's Gonti them. Oh boy. Flage is kind of funny because we can't have it back. And it does put it into their graveyard, which strikes me as pretty bad for me. So I'm going to put that back on the bottom of their library. I think what I want to do here is take the Strangle. No, I can take the Enthusiasm. That's fine too. I can cast this, targeting the Spellbinder, and then I can crack in for 4. And now I have this boon that says, next time I cast a creature spell, it gets 3 extra power. Rip Apart is going to kill my Gonti, and they'll get in for 2. I'm still winning the race here, especially with blockers. Muldrifter is awkward here. I can cast it for the divination mode, but then I lose the boon. But I think that might be fine. Let's evoke this. It does get +3/+0 perpetually, I guess. Maybe I care about that. I think we're likely to Bitter Triumph here. Never mind, they got nothing. Oh, absolutely blocking here. Embercleave. Resolve Embercleave. I am going to discard the Siphon. No, probably the Extinction Event. Okay, I'll discard Extinction Event. Target this one. This is going to cost 2 less because I have no spells. So I can buy back that Bitter Triumph. If I cast this, and I also cast the Lily, I can hold up the Triumph. Okay, that seems pretty good. All right, good game. 3-1, on to game 5. Okay, looking pretty good. If they commit to the board, we can languish. If they don't, we can grief. Love to see it. Or we can Lingering Souls. I also love to see that. Do we want our second black source? I think we do. I will happily draw that card. Here's some souls. This is not a good target for Quench. But they might have to. Sick. Love to see it. Overgrown Tomb and pass. Does that mean another counterspell? It might. I think I'm fine going with Grief here. Ooh. That's pretty good. You know, this card didn't have to pitch to be good. It's still good. Same with Fury, same with Solitude. Messed up magic cards. Wow. Alright. Keep your secrets then. That puts us at 4-1. Not too shabby. Wow, this hand looks great. This is going to be our first time Psychic Frogging. Looks like our opponent also has a companion. So at least we're on a level playing field here. Alright, force spike me. No. Alright. Well, let's hope this goes a little crazy here. Going to crack in with the frog, absolutely. I'm going to draw my card. And probably Liliana here. Oh, they've got a subtlety? They've got something. Commandeer? Something like that? Is that even in this format? I probably would have subtletied the Psychic Frog, personally. Maybe they just drew it. They don't want to attack. Interesting. They could have attacked and gotten a clue, but they didn't want it. Or they didn't realize that that's how that works. Let's head into combat. Could have activated Lily first, I guess. That's probably technically better. Then I don't have to lose as many cards to the frog. And yeah, that seems good to me. I could buy the Yorion, I guess. I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna have too many cards in my hand pretty quickly. Okay, let's resolve this. See where they point it. They're gonna point it at me, that makes sense. So I'm gonna lose the Murderous Rider if I don't use it now. So I'm just gonna kill the Click. Oh no, Click dies to Lily, so I'll kill the Lazov. Now they can have either of my bad non-lands here. Or I guess they can choose nothing, and that's fine too. They're scared of the extinction event. Okay. Lily probably going down to 2 here. Fine by me. Crack the Catacombs second main phase. Gonna swamp. Cackling Observer is gonna take probably my midnight clock, I guess. That's fine. My turn. Let's draw a card. And resolve that trigger. We got a Bitter Triumph, pretty good. Go to combat and attack. And I think I'm going to try to bounce the click instead of killing it. I can commit the rider here, I think. I think it's not that likely that I'm going to have to cast the Lagoon Breach and the Bitter Triumph. Okay. Put that back. Snapcaster Mage is going to target nothing? Wait, why did they do that? Ooh. Okay. Yeah, Lily's down. Okay. That's a combat damage trigger, but it does have Death Touch. I'm gonna put the Servant back into their hand. And then I think I'm gonna start discarding some cards to Psychic Frog. The Lingering Souls is free. That might be enough. I like having lands in a control mirror. I think it was Brian Koval who once said that basically control mirrors are about just hitting your land drop every single turn, and whoever fails to do that first is likely to lose the game. Alright, I've got access to 3 mana here. I want to kill the click. You know, I don't even have to kill the click. That doesn't matter. Whatever. Let's make blockers for the click. Cruelty of Gix. Creature or Planeswalker, I've got none of those. So that's cool with me. And head on to my turn. I've got a Gix's Command here. I can buy back my Lock Whale, I guess? I don't know how much that really matters. I think I'm going to swing with everything. I could put the Cruelty of Gix back into their hand, but that doesn't matter much because it has read ahead. Block the Rider, fine with me. Saiba Siphoner can get back Repulse. I might just draw 2 cards here. Hold up all of these answers. Ooh, Grief. We could cast Grief right now. It takes their last card. But then they get to search for whatever they want, which is pretty good. Yeah, I'll put the Grief onto the battlefield, and that's fine. They've only got the 1 card left. They're going to have to search for a board wipe, I guess. Like, I've got the... Oh, okay. They just don't have anything. The old Demonic Tutor Concede. Two more to go. I think it would be funny to go 7 wins into 0 wins into 7 wins. I guess that's how Magic is sometimes. Believe it or not, this game does have variance in it. Yeah, this looks fine to me. I've got a 3, a 4, and 2 good 5s. Always having a 3 is underrated in this format, I think. I've mentioned that I think it got faster, but it's still not that fast. So having a companion is almost like having a 2-drop. Midnight Clock is a better 3, though. That's for sure. This got surveilled, and they have a ramp spell of their own. A little scary. They get to have 4 mana here, and it's Eladamri, the new one. I do not really know what this card does. You can cast stuff off the top. Yeah, scary. I'm going to kill it. And we will buy Yorion. Now they got 5 mana for Vorinclex, pretty good. Here's our 6th mana, but no removal spell here. We can put an Eladamri or a Groundbreaker onto the battlefield, but that doesn't seem to matter very much. We can intrude on the mind end step, or even block their Lotus Cobra, or we could try to Gonti them now. I don't know what removal spells they would have in their deck for Vorinclex, but this card does have Death Touch, so that's something. Ooh, Nissa. I like that one. I think we can still pay life into this. Collective Defiance. Okay, gonna take a bunch of damage. And Preacher. Okay, I believe we can still... Is that not how this works? You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. I guess that counts as an alternate cost, maybe? I don't know if this is supposed to work like this, but it seems to, so that's unfortunate. I guess we have to evoke Muldrifter and then play a Preacher of the Schism, because we have to hit our land drop if we want to win this game. Yeah, we're maybe just dead. I'm going to evoke this. There's our land. Bronco is fine, I guess. So we're going to have to chump block, and then we're going to have to make big Nissa creatures. A Braid blows up my thing, but we still have a land. Oh, we're just dead. Alright. GG. Okay, so I went ahead and checked with a judge, and as I suspected, you should be able to pay 2 life off of Gonti. So I guess we'll, submit a bug report, probably get our entry back. But bummer that we had to lose to a bug like that. No worries, we will forge on and try to win these next 2. Another turn 2 Psychic Frog on the play. Not too shabby. It's Froggin' time. This card is really good. Nothing from opponent. Let's go to combat. Cash in for our card. Ooh, Meticulous Archive. This one can go into the yard, I think. Well, we're going to be drawing a ton of cards anyway. Yeah, that's fine. We've got our land for next turn. We're drawing 2 cards next turn, most likely. Deduce. Fine by me. I Gonjo. Double strike. Do this turn. Okay. Yeah, this is the card we almost put in our deck. So if I want the Psychic Frog to kill this, I only have to make it a 2/3, right? It'll deal 2 damage to my thing, and I'll deal 2 damage to their thing. Okay, that's fine with me. Let's head into combat. Attack with the frog. They're gonna block. What am I gonna discard here? Probably Siphoner. Exile it with March. Not much I can do about that. Yeah. Okay. We will head to first strike damage and then definitely play our land. Do we want to kill the Eberhard? We can kill the Eberhard end step maybe, and then draw a card with Bankbuster. But then we might as well kill the Eberhard now, I think, just to stop them from ramping with it. I'll pay 3 life. Another weird Bolt the Bird. Elish Norn. That's pretty good. Gonna draw my card. I can Murderous Rider it, or I can Hostage Taker it. Yeah, let's see. If I Swift End it here, then I can cast the Caustic Bronco, which is pretty good. And Bronco. What else we got? Wedding Announcement. Okay. I can kill their 1/1, I guess, but that doesn't seem very good. I can make a rider and attack with the Bankbuster. I've got 6 total mana here. Let's go to combat. There's a Watery Grave. And yeah, I'm happy with tap land plus rider plus draw a card. That's fine. Eventually they're going to make something that I can take hostage. Ossification. Gonna hit probably the Bronco. No, they don't want the Bronco. Okay. Draw another card. Midnight Clock, pretty good. Cruelty of Gix, also pretty good. Yeah, we can probably just cast both those cards. I don't think... Well, I can get the Elish Norn. Yeah, I'm gonna check their hand, I think. Nothing. But knowing about the Sunfall is definitely relevant. Okay, no attacks here. They are going to get to draw a bunch of cards off of this Memory Deluge. So that's a little scary. Bankbuster has 1 charge left. Midnight Clock is eventually going to draw me 7 cards. And I also get to Demonic Tutor. What am I going to tutor for? What am I going to tutor for knowing there's a Sunfall? Okay, Lily's good. I can get Big Lily. I can get Virtue of Persistence. I can get Grief and take the Sunfall. That might be the line. Okay, let's Grief. Do we want to wipe the board first? Maybe. Toxic for 2 and then cast Grief. They've got the Sunfall already. I think that's fine. I'm getting a little worried about my life total, which is why I'm not attacking first. Oh, well, I'm going to take your Hostage Taker. We still have to play around Sunfall. Oh. Wait, crew this. Heh. Bang. Almost missed that. Passed into beginning of combat, but not into attackers. So they get to draw 2 more cards. They get to make a Rona. I get to take their Rona. And then I'm going to force them to wipe the board. And I'll be pretty far ahead at that point. Yeah, I can take their Hostage Taker here. And then I can take this Rona. And then I can cast the Rona. Yeah, that's sweet. Crew. Tapping Taker and Rona. Head to combat. Attack with everything. And this is going to force the Sunfall pretty much. Except I'm going to have a Planeswalker and a Midnight Clock. And a Bankbuster for that matter. There's the Sunfall, that's fine. I can actually Hostage Taker the thing before they even flip it. Get a counter on this. Gix's Command, that's pretty sick. Not quite yet though. Let's go ahead and take your 3/3 hostage. We are not going to get this because it's a token, but we are going to blow it up. And transforming it does not do anything because it doesn't leave the battlefield. +1 this, no targets. Cannot crew the Bankbuster here, but I can buy the Yorion. Sun Titan. That would be really good if I didn't have this Gix's Command. Cameo. So I get to destroy, I get to wipe the whole board. basically. Draw a card. Scarab God, great draw. Go to my turn. So let's see. I'm going to want to crew the Bankbuster first. And then I'm going to cast this. I'm going to have my opponent sacrifice their big creature and destroy all the rest of the stuff. And then I'll +1 this, no targets. I will head into combat and crack in. And then this, I think, is just going to be Scarab God, I guess. Pretty good. Sleight of hand. Might get them somewhere. And here's the Deluge, but they've got no mana left. They're going to have to find exactly Solitude white card, I guess. And even then, I don't think they're in good shape. All right, GG's. All right, we're now 6-2. This one's for all the marbles. H2SO4. Ooh, another Psychic Frog. Are Psychic Frogs weak to sulfuric acid? Don't know. Here's my frog. Emerald Collector. Okay, this is the Saboteur that makes a Mox Emerald. I think I'm going to put that back into their hand. They have more stuff. They have a Grief. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, they can't take my Bitter Triumph and my Repulse. They pitched Scarab God. Same hat. Gonna draw my card. And I am just going to put this right back into their hand. I could save it for a token or something to try and get the true 2-for-1, but I think the tempo is more important here in the Psychic Frog versus Emerald Collector matchup. I guess they never found their third land. That's unfortunate. That probably would have been a pretty interesting game, the mirror match here. But it does mean we took down the 7-2. Turns out, sometimes I do know what I'm doing. Let's take a peek at this deck before we say goodbye. So we definitely had way too many lands in this deck. That I'm sure of. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 lands in a 60-card deck. Not an absurdly high amount or anything, but we had obviously no leeway here. We were playing essentially every single card we drafted. That made even a remote amount of sense. But, wow, I mean, Yorion was pretty great. Psychic Frog was absolutely the MVP of this draft, though. Those last 3 games, maybe even 4 games that we had it on turn 2, it looked absolutely disgusting. We had a lot of my favorite cards. As you might be able to guess, Blue-Black Control is basically my favorite type of deck. And, I mean, we've got the whole thing here. We've got Toxic, we've got Virtue, we've got Treasure Cruise, which we never cast, but we did deal 8 damage to our opponent with using Caustic Bronco, so that was sweet. Yeah, this deck is all I really want to be doing in Magic. This was really sick. But that's about all I've got on this one. One more shout out to Zach Barish for putting together an awesome cube. And we'll see you next time.